Hey, gang. Welcome back to another episode of the Inspired Nation Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Dr. Dustin Bain, and today's message is this. Yes, you can. Lean back, open up your mind, and let the inspiration light your path to a greater tomorrow. All right. Yes, you can. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to enter 2019, 2019. We're leaving 2018 behind us and moving forward. With that said, over the past week, some of you participate, some of you know, some of you realize and understand that I hosted what was coined Emergence, the live experience. And to say it was phenomenal, I would agree. We had a great time. We had what do we have? I kept the attendance low because I wanted to, number one, see how the first time went, and it went phenomenal. So we will be expanding this, planning on doing these every 90 days if you would like to get your name in right now for that. With that said, this past Emergence, the first Emergence, I had looked around for, probably close to a month and a half, looking for the right location, the right feel, the right everything that I wanted to have. I didn't want a typical feeling for this experience that people are going to have to be in a boardroom, in a ballroom, in my office. I wanted to have something out of the ordinary that people had not yet experienced. So what did I do? I hosted this sucker at an airport hangar. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it was absolutely awesome. We had, they left 3 airplanes in there. They left room for me to put 2 tables in the dead center, actually 3 tables put together in the dead center of this hangar. We had blue LED lights all around the outside. It looked pretty swanky. It looked pretty sweet. I absolutely loved it. It was awesome. However, heading up to this event, I had a lot of preparation. I created manuals. I ordered some books that were customized specifically for this event and only this event. We did some other things. I tried to make it as customizable and as different of an experience that people have had in the past. And hopefully, if you attended this, you agree with me. For those of you who want to in the future, again, contact me, personal message me. I'll give you the information on that. But essentially, it was about target setting, goal setting, moving on to 2019. What is it you're trying to accomplish, and what's the crap that's holding you back? Yeah, what's the crap that's holding you back? And what really happened, as I was in preparation for this event, that morning, I went to my favorite coffee shop, Sidecar Coffee, and ordered a big box. And they call it, apparently, a suitcase. It's a big box of Americano. For those of you who know and realize that on Tuesday mornings I go to Sidecar Coffee and order Americano, and that's kind of gets my day going. So I figured I want to have those people have this experience that gets your juices going, gets your heart beating, to have an amazing time. So I didn't call ahead, of course. I showed up at Sidecar Coffee and walked up to the checkout counter. And this gentleman I had never seen before because it was on a Sunday. It was on a Sunday, and I'm usually there on Tuesday, so it was a completely different crowd from what I was used to. So this gentleman walks up, had never seen me, I had never seen him, and he said, "Hey, what can I do for you?" And I said, "Hey, can I get an Americano in those large boxes that you guys have?" And immediately looked at me, and he kind of looked sideways, and he looked at me again. He said, "No, we can't do that." And I said, "Really?" He said, "No, I can't do that." And I said, "I've gone to a Caribou Coffee before, and they've done it before. It was really not a big deal. It was just simple math." And he looked at me, and he looked around again. He looked at me again. He said, I don't think we can do that." And I said, "I think you can. It's simple math. You figure out how many cups are typically in a suitcase, they call it, or the big gargantuan box, and then multiply out how many espressos you put in a cup, and then multiply it out. It's simple math, man." And he looked at me again, and he looked around and said, "Hold on a second." I'm like, "Okay." And he backed away from the counter, and he looked over at the other girl, and they kind of whispered something in her ear, and she's like, "Yeah, we can do that. It's simple math." And I said, "Thank you." So I stood there, and they made the Americano, and she was doing the math in her head and multiplying it out and put it in there and made it all up, and I walked out with my Americano box. And remember, I went way early, so this was 4 hours before the event, and I was trying to figure out how I was going to keep this Americano warm. So luckily, I had literally just won one of those big Yeti coolers. I won one, in a raffle. So it was awesome. I had one of those. I put it in there. 4 hours later, it was still warm. It worked out great. Phenomenal. But the message behind this isn't about the Emergence Lab experience. However, again, if you'd like to attend, please contact me. I'll let you know the specifics of that commercial. And then, but it's more about that kid. I'll call him a kid. He was probably, I don't know, maybe early 20s, but to me, he was a kid. Because the first response he had was, no, we can't do that. And he didn't even think about it. He just looked at me and said, no, we can't do that. And after I questioned him and said, really? Well, the people over at Caribou have no problem doing this for me. They just multiply it out and do the math. And then he thought a little bit, like I said, he thought a little bit more, and then he contemplated a little more. He said, no, we still can't do that. And then I questioned him a little more, pushed him a little bit farther, and then he looked around to his colleague, and apparently then it was, yeah, we can do that. So how this comes full circle back to you is simply this. Where in your life, where in your world are you just accepting things? Someone questions you, some thought comes to your head that says, hey, you should do this. And instantly, without even thinking about it, without even doing the math to seeing if it's even possible, you say, there's no frickin' way. There's no flippin' way. I cannot possibly write a book in 90 days. I cannot possibly train for a marathon and be ready for that in 30 days. I cannot possibly. There is no... Dustin, listen to me. There's no frickin' way that's going to happen. I can't. You just can't do it. And then say I go online and I find people that have already done it. You say you can't wrestle with one leg. Yeah, I just saw that a couple weekends ago. That was frickin' amazing. And then you have to ask your question, does that person have the disadvantage or the advantage? But that's a whole different podcast we can talk about. But today it's all about questioning, doing the math. It all comes down to the numbers. Is it possible? If you don't believe it, it will not happen. If you contemplate it, if you think about it, if you overthink it, you'll still say, not possible. But if you look people up, if you ask around, if you start to punch the numbers and do things, then it's all of a sudden like, well, maybe. The second you get a maybe in your mind, anything is possible. The second you get I guess it's been done before, you can do it. If you want to save an additional $10,000 this year into your savings, guess what? People do that all the time. In fact, they do that every month. In fact, they do that every week. Some people do that. It is possible. You just have to do the math. Is it in your relationships? Are you going around looking for a specific person and you're thinking that person's not out there? They're just not out there. They're not out here. It's not out here. They're not out here. I quit. It's not possible. I'm just going to stay single my whole life. It's not going to happen. And then I come up to you and say, you're looking for this type of person? It's going to get bumpy here for a second. I find that exact person with the exact personality types that you were looking for, and magic starts to happen. Guess what? If it's happened anywhere else, it can happen to you. In 2019, I want you to look forward. I don't want you to look back. I don't want you to contemplate if it's even possible. I want you to find things that people that have already done it, and I want you to copy, mimic, plagiarize, whatever you have to do, legally, with that respect, to make it happen. You can do anything. 2019 is your year. It's time to get off your ass and move things. Let's do this. That is the inspiration one for today. If you haven't already, head over to iTunes, like us, leave us a review, let us know how we're doing. Also, number 2, Inspire Nation Online, where you can insert your email. I will send you a love letter every Monday morning to get your week started off right. And until next time, you know what to do. Stay inspired.